Hello, welcome to a new series I'm calling Going Skyward, and it's about the Chicago Sky. I'm assuming you watched this video because you know about the WNBA or you like it, or more specifically, probably the Chicago Sky. Um, so I'm just, gonna talk about free agency for a bit and tell you guys my opinion about the moves they made and everything. And okay, so a lot of teams were signing at first, and it took a while for the Chicago Sky to really get going too. And once they did, they the Atlanta Dream made an offer for Esto Endure, and the Sky they matched within a half an hour, and then within like what was it, like a couple of hours, they traded her to Dallas, to the Dallas Wings for a pick. I don't know what the pick is. I'm gonna look that up for a second. Um yeah, I can't really find it, and I can't really remember people talking about what the pick was gonna be. So that's unfortunate that there's not really that much information about it. Oh right, okay. So on the actual WNBA site, it actually has a lot of information that surprises me. Um, so the pick the Wings got from Skylar Diggins Smith from the Phoenix Mercury. Okay, so they used the 2021 first round pick they acquired for S2 Endure. So it really was a three-team deal. I didn't really realize that, to be honest. I thought it was more just the Wings pick for S2 Endure, but no, it was actually the Phoenix Mercury pick they just got from from Skylar Diggins. Okay, so yeah, that's probably not going to be a very good pick. That's kind of unfortunate because the Phoenix Mercury, well, they're going to be good now with Skylar Diggins, you know. So yeah, that's I mean, Dewana Bonner just went to the Connecticut Sun, but you know they're not that much worse now with Skylar Diggins. Arguably, they're even better. Um, I'm not necessarily saying that, but you can argue that. So yeah, not really going to be a good pick. That's unfortunate. I was under the impression that it was going to be the Wings pick, although it is a first round pick, and I also wasn't sure that if it was going to be a second round pick or a first round pick. So I guess all in all, it's a good trade because we got a first round pick out of it. Yeah, I mean, the Wings wouldn't give up their good pick for next year. You know, that's unrealistic to think that. So you know, my bad, I guess. Let's see. Then Kalia Copper signed, but it was just reported by one outlet, and it took a while before it was official. It actually was just official yesterday, which was just like after the rest signed. So, or maybe slightly before it. Well, it was after the rest signed, but the details weren't out there yet. But anyway, yeah, she signed pretty quickly. She got an offer. She got multiple offer sheets. I don't really know what the one was that was ultimately matched, but it was a pretty high contract. I don't think it was a max, but it was a lot, and you can argue that for her it may be too much money, but at the same time, they traded Endure to do everything to keep Kalia Copper, and I think it's the right move because she showed to be really valuable and really important to the offense and really to keep the offense going on the bench. And I'm pretty sure she closed out some games too, but I'm not sure about that. So then we signed. Was it a signing or a trade? It seemed like a signing. Yeah, it was definitely a signing. They signed Sydney Colson, who seems like a really funny person, a really funny girl, and that's always good. That's always fun. Really fun and positive person, it seems. And from what I've heard, she can do pretty much anything except for shoot. And I don't know. Yeah, for point guard, that's not great. But yeah, her defense seems to be great. Her playmaking, um, and ball handling. Um, she attacks. It should be good for just a backup point guard. Who knows? Gabby Williams might still play point guard off the bench before her. More minutes, but I think Gabby will probably go back to like the small forward type of role. And well, Jameer Faulkner is out for the season. That's really unfortunate. I wish her a lot of luck, and she'll probably be back next year. Okay, so then I believe it was quickly after the Sydney Colson signing, or might have been before that. I don't really know. It was quickly between each other at least. But Ellie quickly signed. She was just like a couple of minutes before Stephanie Dawson and Courtney Vandersloot. Actually, maybe funny to mention. It's funny that I'm Dutch and Van der Sloot is a Dutch last name, and it's pretty funny how she isn't Dutch or anything. It's just I've looked it up. She isn't even really related to her family. Isn't really even Dutch from like her family tree. So I don't really know where she got that name from, but that's okay. It's just pretty funny that how Americans pronounce that. The Vandersloot. The emphasis on Vander, but it's actually here we would say Van der Sloot. It's pretty funny how that's different in America. Just wanted to mention that. I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, Ellie signed, and I was happy about that. And then quickly after that, Stephanie Dawson and Courtney Vandersloot, they signed too, and I could not be happier about that. Especially Stephanie Dawson. She's my, well, okay, maybe it's a good story to tell. I became a fan of the Chicago Sky. I believe like 4 or 5 years ago. Because like when I watched the NBA, I saw a lot of WNBA players during the All-Star weekend and stuff. So you can say about that what you want, but it actually got me into the WNBA, a little. But at the time, I was really like watching highlights. I was really amazed at how good Elena Delle Donne was, and my favorite NBA player is Dirk Nowitzki, and Elena Delle Donne reminds me of him very much. And off the court, she's very much like LeBron, and I think that's awesome as well, because LeBron is an amazing role model for a lot of people, for me too, and Elena definitely is that as well. But the funny thing is, I also really like Stephanie Dawson. I remember they were interviewing each other, funnily enough, during All-Star Weekend sometime, I guess that was the WNBA All-Star Weekend, but I saw that somewhere, and I thought both of them were really fun people, and I started to watch like some highlights of Stephanie Dawson, and I was like, wow, she's like amazing too, and so I liked her in Washington too. She was tied for my favorite player, I guess, with Elena Delle Donne, and she's an all-star, but more in like a supportive role, maybe, I guess, because she's like a great screen setter. I think, some people, they don't like when you compare them to male basketball players, but I kind of like comparing players. It's never ideal to compare anybody to each other, but it's just, anyway, I wanted to say that Stephanie Dawson reminds me of Steven Adams. I guess if Steven Adams was a bit shorter and could shoot. But definitely the low post skills and the fact that they're both probably the greatest screen setters in their league. And Steven Adams is one of my favorite NBA players as well, so it makes sense. And maybe Nikola Jokic a bit, but at the same time, Stephanie Dawson definitely plays a lot better defense. Um, Al Horford maybe, all players that I really like at least. And um, but it's definitely how Stephanie is off the court, that makes me love her so much. And um, that's how I became a fan. But at first, I just watched highlights from Elena and Steph, and then uh, I considered myself a Sky fan, because I like the colors of the sky a lot. The yellow and blue. I like the court. The city and the fans seem great. Um, and then they traded Elena for Steph, and I was actually pretty happy because Steph is my other favorite player, funnily enough. And so I was just like, well, I guess if they start making moves that I'm okay with, then I'm just like a Sky fan from now on. And so I kept watching highlights, but then I believe 2 years ago WNBA League Pass started to become a thing, and I missed out on it the first time. I really didn't know when they were playing or anything because I was really casual about it. But then last year I got really into it, and I just wanted to buy League Pass because it's only like €10 or dollars a year, and it's insanely cheap. So I was like, I don't have to watch every Sky game. Um, Something that I did notice is that because I live in Europe, games are at the middle of the night, so I always watch. I either stay up and just sleep very little, or I watch them the next day. I do that with the NBA with League Pass, and now also with the WNBA. But I noticed that because the playoffs were going on, I watched a lot of men's basketball, and I had a tough time keeping up with this guy. And what I did is I just like postponed it and just I just like I think like a month in the season I started to watch the first games of the Sky, and I just like watched a game every day. But to be honest, that wasn't really that much fun. So I think I'm not probably gonna watch every Sky game. Like I gave up halfway through the season as well. I was so behind after a while. I think like 30 games in, I just gave up. Or I guess 2020. Yeah, it's more than half the season at least I watched. And because pretty much the playoffs were going to begin and I was still behind, so I was like, might as well just watch the playoffs. And then so it was a weird season for me, and I'm gonna keep up more this year. But at least the beginning of the season was fun to see, and then I already knew from there that the Sky were gonna be in the playoffs and be a decent seed at least. And then the elimination playoff games were really really fun to see. It was just really unfortunate that that half court buzzer beater got in, and I mean, yeah, I've never really experienced that in like a playoff game, an elimination game as well. Anyway, so I'm probably not gonna be watching every game of the Sky because uh, it's just alongside the NBA playoffs, and um, just probably gonna watch the opener and then the game after that, and then just like pick and choose which one I'll watch, and I'll watch most of it, and I am a person I do like to watch every game, which is why I did the weird thing or how I did it last year, um so I'm gonna try to watch every game. I want to do that, and I love the Chicago Sky almost as much as I do the Dallas Mavericks, maybe even just as much, even though it's been short. So and last year was just like me getting into it a bit, and it was super fun. Like I did not expect it to like it just as much as the men's game, pretty much. Okay, so I think I'm gonna talk about how I became a fan and stuff more later on, because I'm gonna get back to free agency signings a bit. I was really disappointed that Katie Lou Samuelson got traded for Azure Stevens, because, well, actually, Katie Lou was a very big reason I started to watch full games last year, because I watched the WNBA draft, or at least like a, a highlight video of it, and they talked about her, and I was like, she's crazy talented. She's a great shooter, a very good playmaker for her size at 6'3". Um, like crazy skilled for someone that big, and I was really hyped about it. I was like, she's gonna do great, and she's gonna do wonders. And I believe I mean, I'm not sure about that, but I believe the expectations for the Sky weren't necessarily very high, because I think with the new coach, James Wade, he got the team to play better than ever. I think, or better than the last couple of years. I mean, um, and now the expectations are a lot higher for this year. But I thought they were sort of half rebuilding, and I thought Katie Lou might start or at least play a lot of minutes, and maybe that was the plan. But she got hurt, and I think maybe if she didn't get hurt, then maybe she would still be here. But you know, at first I was just really upset about it, because I was just super hyped about her, and she was one of my favorites on the team, and she was the one like rookie that started when I started, watching full games. So I was kind of attached to her from the beginning, and I thought she was gonna be there for years, and that could have been like sort of special for me, because she was the first rookie I really seen get drafted by this guy, like when I started to watch serious games. Um, but after thinking about it for a couple of days, it's a great situation for her in the on the wings. And I was also thinking about it. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, and she's going to the Dallas Wings. It's not a bad idea for me to actually watch a lot more Wings games. That wouldn't have been a bad idea from the start, but now that she now that she is on the Wings, I'm definitely gonna consider watching Wings games even more. Um, I just hope that doesn't mean that I will watch less Sky games, and I think that probably won't matter. I probably still will watch a lot of Sky games, probably almost every game, and just some Wings games here and there, because I want to support Dallas. It's actually pretty weird that I'm a Sky fan, because I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. So I have been for, I believe, 8 years now. But it at first it wasn't necessarily because of the city or anything. It was because of Dirk, and Dirk is a great person, super fun to watch, super loyal, and I I well, I wanted to say that I saw the same thing in Elena, but she's not. She's loyal, I think. It's just that she wanted to be closer to home, and that was the most important to her, and I can honestly respect that. And well, Stephanie Dawson is definitely loyal, and I see some of Dirk in her. Like she works hard, and um and the Wings, when I started to watch casually, weren't around, so that's also the thing. That's also shock back then, and they had the same players on the team when they relocated to Dallas. So I wasn't really like, oh, like convinced to be like a Wings fan, because I was like, it's the same team. Like what's different? That's how I thought. But now that they like rebranded and traded Skylar Diggins and Liz Cambage, and did like they rebuilt it, and they got Arike Ogunbowale. Yeah, Arike Ogunbowale out of from the draft, and now Katie Lou, and it's actually becoming a fun team. So now but I still like the Sky more. I love the colors. I've actually been loving the city of Chicago, and I'm actually considering watching more Chicago Bulls games as well, but definitely not as big of a fan of the Bulls organization and their history as the Sky. Well, I was upset about Katie Lou, but looking up how like what Azure Stevens provides and she seems perfect for the Sky. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more perfect it actually is. The Sky gave away a pick with it, which I don't really like. But I guess it's fair because Stevens is just a lot more ready to compete now. I think she is a decent shooter, pretty good shooter, and she's taller than Stephanie Dolson I saw. And from what I've seen, she's not a bad rebounder either. And I think something that kind of frustrated me last year is that Stephanie Dolson is a big center that can shoot, and that should be an advantage. But then she plays alongside either Gentle Lavender or Cheyenne Parker, which negates the spacing a bit because both of them can really shoot as good as well as Stephanie Dolson. Like they can shoot a little bit, but that's about it. And I think Azure Stevens is that player that they needed to play 5 out. She provides some size because Stephanie Dolson is not the biggest center. She's big, but Azure Stevens is taller, and I think that it actually will work. I just hope that Stevens will start because of the spacing. I think at first she probably won't, but then she probably will play very well and earn her starting spot. I think that's how it's probably gonna go. And they're trying to compete now, so Gentle Lavender with her experience probably starts. That's probably just the way it is, but I hope Azure will start. Okay, so we don't really know the details of the deals that Stephanie Dolson, Ellie Quickly, and Courtney Vandersloot got, but at least we know that Steph got a multi-year deal, and she didn't even consider other teams, and that was really awesome to hear, by the way. That she's apparently like really loyal to Chicago and really loves it here, or here. I'm not in Chicago, but I believe that Stephanie Dolson took a little less. I'm assuming that because she didn't even really talk to other teams, so well, at the same time, it could also mean that maybe she got offered a max and she was like, okay, I'll take it. But I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe Courtney and Ellie took a little less, but I mean, it's so debatable because Stephanie Dolson wasn't an all-star last year. I think you could argue that Diamond to Shields is probably our best player. I think that at least because, even if she isn't really, she's so young that she will she grows like every game so much, and I think if she's not the best player now, she's going to be soon. And then after that, Courtney and Ali are pretty much equally good, probably. But at the same time, I think the team doesn't play as well if they wouldn't have Stephanie Dolson. I think that's what it is, and I think that's maybe why Stephanie Dolson, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe gets some max, and maybe Courtney and Ali took a little less, because weirdly enough, Courtney and Ali might be replaceable. I don't want to say that, because Ali is probably the best shooter in the league, and Courtney is probably the best passer in the league, and their chemistry makes them even 10 times better. But yeah, I think if you're breaking it down, Steph might be more important, but I guess I'm really biased because she's my favorite player, so I was actually pretty upset that she wasn't an All-Star last year, but not that upset because Courtney, Ellie, and Diamond were really deserving, and 3 All-Stars is a lot. By the way, last year during my watchings of the games, I didn't know that Courtney and Ali were married yet, and then I don't really know. I remember how it happened. I just noticed that they were really close and really, really liked each other a lot. So then I started to Google some. I basically Wikipedia them to find out some more about them, and then it was mentioned there, I believe, that they were married, and that's really awesome. That's pretty awesome. That makes your chemistry like 100 times better than it would otherwise, and I think that's just amazing. But anyway, because we don't know the money, that makes it a bit difficult. But the question I have is that who are they gonna keep next year? Because Cheyenne Parker and Gentle Lavender are free agents next year. And Cheyenne Parker keeps getting better, and Gentle is a solid veteran. I don't want either to go, but they might have to choose between one or the other. And I think if you break it down, I would probably personally pick Cheyenne over Gentle. Then Diamond is a free agent in 2022. She's restricted, of course, but I don't know how they're gonna do it, but she's gonna get a max. She's amazing. Yeah, that makes it tough though. It might be. I mean, it's gonna be 2 years before we know that, but might actually be time. No, no, that's not true. I wanted to say like maybe Courtney and Allie could retire or be let go, but that's not. I think honestly they could play until they're like 38, so that's honestly ridiculous to even think about. I really don't know. I'm just happy that I'm not the front office. I don't have to figure it out. We'll see in 2 years, I guess. So then some other signings that from other teams that I noticed. Like I said, Dewana Bonner is going to the Connecticut Sun, and I seen some games from the Sky against the Mercury, and she was really good. So that's good for the Connecticut Sun, and the Mercury, they replaced her sort of with Skylar Diggins from the trade, and that's gonna be great for them. Elena Deladon is back in Washington, which is great. Although Christy Tolliver has went to the Sparks, so tough to replace that. But I don't really know who that is, but I do think they got a decent point guard, so it might be okay. And Emma Mason is back. That's how you say it, by the way. I love Emma, by the way, because she's Belgian, and she's from the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium, and I'm Dutch, so I understand her Dutch tweets and her Dutch interviews, and she represents the Benelux. That's how we call the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. She represents it well, and I mean, honestly, she's not well known in the Netherlands here, but in Belgium, a lot. From if I Google her and stuff, like so many articles from Belgium are about her. They love her there. But she speaks Dutch, so I love her, and I'm really excited that she's going back to the Mystics, and it was very awesome to see her ball out in the finals and actually get the finals MVP with mostly coming off the bench, or maybe all of the games even. That's amazing. That's awesome, and that she's actually playing in the at the States over in Europe where they're getting paid. I mean, she's playing in both, but I think it's awesome because she could get paid a lot better in Europe, and I believe she speaks French. I'm almost certain she does. So she could definitely just play in France, and so it's awesome. And I mean, I would probably do it if I was a female basketball player. I would probably play in the WNBA because it's just more fun, more competitive, and the because of the cap restrictions, it's just a much more fun and balanced league. I would love to play in that over overseas, or I would do both because you basically have to. But overseas leagues just seem kind of boring. I've always felt that with European basketball and also soccer or football, it's just pretty unfair that the richer you are, the more you get to spend. And we're seeing that with that Russian team the Ekaterinburg, I believe, Ekaterinberg or something like that. I believe it is. Um, they just have like uh, 5 MVP candidates or something in the starting lineup, and that's just ridiculous. And that's why the WNBA is more fun, and that's why it should be better, and they should get paid more. And I hope it becomes more of a success. Um, anyway, I'm really happy for Emma. Okay, so um, I started talking about how I became a Sky fan a bit, and let's talk about that some more for the final topic. So yeah, I've never really liked the Bulls, and I'm not necessarily going to be, but at the same time, I'm starting to love Chicago and the fans and stuff, and so I might try to watch more Bulls games. It's just tough because I wasn't, of course, around when Michael Jordan played. Um, Neither I was really when Derrick Rose was really good. I mean, after his injury, he still was kind of decent, and I've seen that. Um, but that was really not as like a Bulls fan, and I feel like I missed so much that it's not really worth investing my time in the Bulls now. If that maybe sounds logical. That's it was weird to say, but I don't like the color red. Like I like the sky color so much, like the yellow and blue, and it's just such a 180 with red. I like those city jerseys, those blue ones from the Bulls. Those are amazing. Um, yeah, because I like the color blue. Also, I'm not too sure if I like Zach Levine and Larry Markkinen that much. But I'm just gonna have to try to watch more games. I guess I like Wendell Carter Jr. a lot. He's awesome. Um, so we'll see. Um, I think I've pretty much already said um everything about being a Sky fan. Like that I wasn't a Wings fan because they weren't around when I started to get sort of interested in it, and now that the Wings become sort of interesting, I'm already so invested in the Sky. So Wings definitely like a second favorite team, and well, I like the Mystics still a lot because of Elena Daldom, but at the same time, I kind of let that go. They traded her for someone else I really love in Stephanie Dolson, so shouldn't really matter. I'm not even close to being a Mystics fan, but I follow Elena Daldon. She's my favorite player next to Stephanie Dolson. So and I was talking about how Katie Lou got traded, and that I was really upset because she's the first one I really got seen drafted. But thinking about that, Diamond to Shields is only in her. This is only gonna be her third year, right? So I only really missed 1 year, and honestly, I have League Pass now, and I'm pretty sure I could watch the season that I missed. And I could actually watch the rookie year of them Diamond to Shields. And Diamond to Shields is gonna be that player. She could be like an MVP one day. I shouldn't be really upset about Katie Lou because Diamond is still here. And really, Diamond is amazing. She's ridiculously fast and super talented. I know it's controversial to talk about the men's game in that way, but she could definitely play in the men's game, is what I wanted to say. She's strong enough, quick enough, athletic enough. I haven't seen her dunk, but she's so athletic she could probably do it. Maybe just barely, I don't know. But even just saying that about her is just impressive. I think she's just really fast and skilled, and it's also kind of weird because I think even though she's 6'1", which is tall for a WNBA player, I think she could actually play the point or shooting guard, and I think maybe that's the plan once Courtney and Allie retired, which is going to be in, like I said earlier, that's gonna be a while still, but it feels a bit weird that Diamond is playing small forward. I guess she's like a point forward, but I think she's definitely like a shooting or point guard. Which, it's fine because Ellie doesn't dribble that much, Um, so, it works out. It doesn't really matter at all. I think, there's a lot more stories that I could talk about me just like the weird reason I became a Sky fan and stuff like that. Considering I was a Mavericks fan and I don't live in the United States at all and stuff like that. But, I'll mention stuff like that some other time. And I think I've pretty much said everything I could about free agency. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at Mav underscore zero with the O is a zero. So MAV underscore ZER0. I talk about the Dallas Mavericks and the Chicago Sky on there. That's pretty much all I talk about. It's a dedicated basketball account. If you're not into the men's game at all, it's totally okay if you use some terms, some words. And don't worry, I tweet just as much about the Sky. I think most of my followers are Mavericks fans. I think a lot of them are really annoyed that I talk about the Sky so much. So don't worry, it's really 50-50, and I hope to see you there. And yeah, go Sky.